So I'm doing this video in regards to what I said about Singaporeans being small-minded, submissive, not creative people, rule followers, and people who don't think out of the box. Firstly, I want to apologize for using the term everybody in what I said. Let me correct that. I would say that it's the majority of Singaporeans that are like that, but please allow me to justify this, okay? And please know that when I say everybody in this video, I would be referring to the majority of the Singaporean population and not everyone. So just a few questions to answer. Why is this girl so stupid to believe what her friend said about not having to sing Korean songs in Korea? Get this, in the interview when I said someone told me I didn't have to sing Korean songs in Korea, he was not a friend. It was someone with a pretty high position in one of the organizing companies who told me I wouldn't have to sing Korean songs. When I met this guy in Korea, our conversation went like this. You told me I didn't have to sing Korean songs, so why did you lie? If I didn't lie to you, would you have come? No. Exactly. And the next question, so why didn't she just drop out of the competition then? Well, here's what happened next. If you get to top 4, I will give you a big present. What is it gonna be? You'll see. Okay. And guess what? I never got that big present. So let's just settle with the fact that I was cheated into taking part in this competition to represent Singapore. And yes, I am still pissed with this guy. Fun fact, this was the same guy who flew me from Sydney to Singapore to audition for the competition so I can represent Singapore in K-Pop Star Hunt 3. Not saying that the audition results were rigged because, hey, I am the first Singaporean to make it to the finals of K-Pop Star Hunt. And I'm not trying to be cocky, but it is the truth. I am the first and the only one, and you guys just hate my attitude, and I'm fine with that. So now that I've clarified all that I want to clarify, onto the real topic. Why am I not proud to be Singaporean? It's not a bad country. Singapore is a beautiful country. It has great architecture, it's a great city, it has a great standard of living, clean water, nice grass, blah blah blah. It's really fancy, but only if you can afford it. So it brings me to my first point, okay? Singapore is no place for an artist to be. Singapore is a great place for expats because you have to admit the expat packages are pretty damn good. But what about Singaporeans? The one with good education do well, definitely. But they're the ones who do bad in school. They don't get much. And yes, I understand that this is fair. You work hard for what you get. But this country has become so obsessed with the idea that the best thing to do in life is a doctor, a lawyer, or be an engineer, etc, 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 because those are the highest paying jobs. Singaporeans in general, they just don't think about doing anything else. So there's the few minority that go down the forbidden path, like me, like when I chose to do media. My family of doctors and lawyers just thought I was stupid to do it. The only people who supported me were my parents. They were never confident about it because at the end of the day, I could still fail and be left with absolutely nothing. So here's my problem with Singapore. There's barely any room for an alternate successful career path other than the ideal career that everyone has in mind. And on top of that, Straits Times had the guts to post on the front page of the paper sometime last year that our payment system is better than the minimum wage system, which is just ridiculous. And that brings me to my second point. Singaporeans are narrow-minded. Why do I say this? Because believe me, majority of the Singaporean population would have just bought the headline news and believed that our payment system is better than the minimum wage, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's just bullshit. For example, we've got a 21-year-old waitress in Singapore versus a 21-year-old part-time waitress in Australia. This is what a Singaporean would get, and this is what an Australian would get. Exactly my point. Yeah, and you might say that the Australian standard of living is a lot higher. But to be fair, if you lay out an earning to spending ratio, it is a lot cheaper to live in Australia than in Singapore. So at the end of the day, is the minimum wage better than the Singaporean payment system? No. You still want to believe everything that you see in the headline news, such as this. No, you shouldn't. Here comes my third point. Singaporeans are not creative. I'm not saying that there's no talent in Singapore. There's a lot of talent. But all these talents are not seen. Why? Because of a very, very simple reason. The education system in Singapore. This is where I'm going to bring my sisters into the picture. Both my sisters, they study in international schools in Taiwan. And after just 2 years of studying there, they have grown really differently from other Singaporeans because of the education system in their school. So what is the difference? They have room for creativity. In Taiwan, for example, art classes, they just throw you a theme and you do what you want. Just let your creativity flow. It's definitely a lot harder, but it encourages a lot more creativity than the Singaporean education system. In Singapore, you gotta admit, every single one of us will homework robots. We get home, we sit down at the table, we finish our homework, we go for dinner, we have a shower, we go to bed. That's it. That is the Singaporean daily schedule, and it's shit. Majority of Singaporean parents, they just believe, okay, this is the path that my kid has to take. This is what my kid has to do to be a successful person in life. When parents have this mentality, this is what you get from Singaporean kids. We are not creative. We're just book smart. We just study every single day. Does anyone do arts and crafts? No. For example, in primary school, I did my English homework and I decided to put in a little bit more effort to it. So I went to my mom and I was like, Mom, should I make my homework a little bit prettier than other people's instead of writing it on a piece of foolscap paper? My mom was like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Next day when I got to school, I went to my teacher. I was so excited to hand in my homework, but what did she say? This is very nice, but don't do it again. Creativity is being slammed down in Singaporean culture, and I don't like it. I like to be creative. I don't want to just be book smart. It's just kind of sad. I'll just be like the majority of Singaporeans in Singapore, and it's too rigid for my taste. To be honest, other than Jack Neo films, which are super amazing, the local productions in Singapore cannot compare to foreign productions, and I do think this is because of the restricted education we have. It's not because we have no talents in Singapore. We just don't have room to grow. So, primary school students can't be creative. Fine. But talented people can't enroll in universities unless they're book smart. So what if someone is exceptionally talented but didn't get good results in school? They get thrown aside and then never heard of again. I'm not saying this in regards to myself. I've got the course that I wanted. I graduated with a diploma of my choice. What I'm saying is, talent in Singapore is wasted. Creativity is restricted. So as an artist, how can I not feel that this country is not meant for me? Singapore focused too much on doing everything one way, and it's integrated into us since we were kids. So when we grow up, we don't become any different, which brings me to my next point. Singaporeans are submissive. Since young, all we've heard is, you have to do it like this. So when we become adults, that's all we hear as well. No one ever thinks out of the box. All they do is agree, yup, and do whatever they are told to do. So quoting one of Jack Neo movies, Singaporeans are too obedient. You gotta admit, we are pretty obedient people. It's affecting us in ways that no one else can see, especially people in the service sector. This brings me to my next point. Singaporeans are not happy people. Service sectors in Taiwan and Australia, they're really, really good. And I'm using these two countries as a comparison because I'm more familiar with them. So take it. If you have visited these countries, you will realize that everyone serves you with a smile and they're actually happy with what they're doing. In Singapore, being in the service sector, it's just a job. Most people in the service sector, they don't take pride in doing their jobs. They don't smile, they don't serve a customer and make the day a little brighter by doing a little small talk. And don't you come and tell me that I don't know how it's like to be in the service sector, because I did waitering at a bar, and it's 8 hours worth of standing up, taking orders, serving orders, and at the end of the day, you wouldn't really be bothered with entertaining people, but I still do it. Why? Because I take pride in what I do. I like the feeling of making someone else's day a little happier. If I can make a difference, if I can make someone else happy, why don't I do it? It makes me happy making someone else happy. It's not in my job description. I just do it. But that is just something that Singaporeans don't do. And that's why I'm not proud to be Singaporean. So let's just say, Singaporeans, we don't know how to be happy. And don't fight me on this, because we are pretty much the smallest country in the whole damn world with one of the highest suicide rates. So that is enough to say that people in general are not happy. So how safe is Singapore when people are killing themselves more than people are killing other people? It's a stressful country, no one's happy, and I don't like it. Deal with it. My next point. Neither are Singaporeans nice. One reason why I prefer Australia to Singapore is because from experience, Australians are just nicer in general. For example, I was walking along the streets with my bike one day, and within 10 minutes, 3 people greeted me, good morning, and wished me a good day. And there's another time when I was at the airport, I dropped my laptop on the floor. This couple from really, really, really far away, they came to me and they were like, is your laptop okay? And then 1 minute later, this random guy comes along and he's like, oh, is your computer okay? And I'm like, yeah, that's really nice of you to ask, thank you. Will you get that in Singapore? No. Not only is the majority of Singaporeans not concerned about others, they brush off people who want to help as well. Once again, I am saying this from experience. And the only person who has ever accepted my help was when I sent a lost handicapped tissue seller from Chinatown home. I'm not rich. I'm a pretty broke person. But Because this guy was lost and I realized it was gonna take him like an hour and 40 minutes to get home, I put him in a cab, drove him home, paid for that cab fare, and then went home myself. It was a detour, Chinatown to Punggol to Bedok, so it wasn't fancy, but I did it anyway. So I want you to ask yourself, would you have done it? So for the last time, don't call me a spoiled brat, because I'm not rich, I am not spoiled. I have been supporting myself and living independently since the age of 19, and that is earlier than most Singaporean kids. I earn my own keep. I believe my parents have done well in bringing me up. So roll your eyes if you want, scoff if you want. But because I stand up for things that I believe in, and because I'm a brutally honest person, it doesn't make my parents bad parents, because they still brought me up well. And I believe they have done well, and I'm grateful for what they have done for me. Talk bad about me all you want, but don't drag my parents into it, because I'm a 21-year-old adult. I make my own decisions. So stop being immature fuckwits and blame it on my parents, because they've got nothing to do with what I said on the papers. My parents, they like Singapore, but hey, they prefer Taiwan. I like Singapore, but hey, I prefer Australia. So why not just let me have my opinion? We can agree to disagree. You can stay in Singapore for as long as you want, but I am going to be finding ways to get out of here as soon as possible. So don't worry about it. All you people out there who want me out of this country, I'll be out soon. So yes, my mom has told me countless times that if I want to be in the media, I have to pretend to like things even if I don't, because that is the way to survive in the industry. But guess what? I don't want to survive by being a fake person. I want people to accept me for who I am, and if you can't accept that I am an honest person who speaks my mind, and I am not a fake person who smiles at the camera and lies, then you're just another damaged product of society which asks people to be fake so that other people will like them. And I will not be molded by society's demands, because that is just ridiculous. So to conclude with my last point, that everybody just follow the rules. No one ever speaks up. It's like Singaporeans don't have brains of their own. They just go with the crowd. Sorry, but it's kind of true. And you know it's true, and I know that I will probably get into trouble for making this video and talking about how bad Singapore is, or Singaporeans are, but freedom of speech does not exist. And if I get into trouble for this, I will be living proof, and I bet that you have heard people say, talk about the government and you are gonna. And that's true, so why am I doing this video? I believe it's time for Singaporeans to see a fresh perspective of the society and know that it's not perfect. It's a great place, but it's not perfect. So fine, you can be proud to be Singaporean, but don't condemn me for not being proud to be Singaporean, because I'm not. You guys have to realize that I have my reasons for not being proud being a Singaporean, and we can agree to disagree. I have made my own decision, and I hope this video would help you guys realize why I said the things that I did. And thank you to the rest of the people who have supported what I said about not being proud to be Singaporean. But please, if you do find an extremely convincing reason why we should be proud to be Singaporean, I'm all ears. Because other than the fact that Singapore has no danger, streets are safe, there's no tornado, tsunami, and earthquakes because of our geographical location, I haven't seen anyone come up with anything better to tell me that Singapore is an awesome country. So why are you proud to be Singaporean? Because hit me with a valid answer and I'm all ears. A lot of you want me out of the country, and trust me, it's a matter of time before I'm out of here, because I truly think that I'm better suited for other countries. And there you go. Once again, Steph is brutally honest, and if you don't like it, well, fuck you.